Okay, pre-calculus, I am going to go over the Lesson 1 formative assessment for Unit 2 and also the Lesson 3 formative. So don't watch the second one until you've actually taken the test. So we'll go ahead and start with number 1. I think there's 3 questions for this one. Which of the following degree measurements is equivalent to 3 pi over 4? So usually in my head, I'm thinking do you hear this bird? It's not going to be distracting. When I think, okay, 3 pi over 4, I'm dealing in fourths, right? 0 all the way halfway across the circle, all the way around halfway, is pi, right? So if I'm dealing in fourths, that's 4 pi over 4. Can you hear the bird? So if I'm broken up into fourths, here's 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4. So this is what we're looking right here, okay? 3 pi over 4. And this is also in terms of degrees, 180 degrees, halfway around the circle. And each of these is 45 degrees, right? Because 45 times 4 is 180. So that makes the answer to this one 135 degrees. Because you can also think of it as 90 plus 45. So that's what I was getting at. Usually in my head I go up 90 plus 45. Number 2. Now we're given an angle, a negative angle. So that means we are moving the other direction. So we're moving clockwise. So I have to either, usually what I do is I start with negative 17 pi over 6 and I go, okay, the bird is freaking out. I'm going to go ahead and add 12 pi over 6 to this. Because 12 pi over 6 is going to bring me wherever I'm at around the full circle one time. And that's going to be closer to the angle I'm looking at. I don't know if it'll be the angle I need, but when I do that, I get negative 5 pi over 6. Okay, so notice that's one of the answers, but that is actually not the answer. Pikachu, do you have something to say? She's right on my shoulder, right by the microphone here. And the reason why it's not the answer is because it's negative. Reference angles are between 0 and 180. I'm sorry, 0 and 90. So we're asked, let's see, if I start here and I go, all right, if I go around 12 pi over 6, there's your 12 pi over 6, and then I go another 5 pi over 6, right, because it's negative 17. Well, 6 pi over 6 is halfway across again. That would be another 6 pi over 6. We don't need to go that far. We only need to go 5. So it's continue over here to my last sixth. And so we know that we are this distance to the x-axis in a different color is going to be pi over 6. And that's why the answer is pi over 6. Do not put a negative. It's the distance between 0 and 90 or 0 and pi over 2, however far that is away from the x-axis. Number 3, convert the angle measurement from radians to degrees, 7 pi over 6. So thinking about where 7 pi over 6 is, okay, 6 pi over 6 is over here, right? If we're from 0 going to 6 pi, 7 pi over 6 is here. So that's in the third quadrant. So let's go ahead and do that. Whoops, yeah. 7 pi over 6. And if I'm changing that to degrees, now, you could also think about it as 180 plus 30, because that's going to be a sixth. So I already know what the answer is, but let's just go ahead and do this. I'm going to multiply by 180 over pi, because right now it's radians, and I need those pi's to cancel. One in the numerator, one in the denominator. And before I multiply, and this is something that we don't do a lot, and I don't know why we don't focus on this, and I tell my kids, in middle school and as they get older, simplify first before you multiply. Because in pre-cal, you're not even supposed to be using a calculator. And the last thing I want to do right now is multiply 7 times 180 and then divide by 6. Yuck. So 6 goes into 18 evenly, I know. So 6 goes into 6 one time. 6 goes into 18. 3 times 6 is 18, right? So that's a 30. And now I can just multiply 3 times 7 with a 0, 210 degrees. And there's your answer. Okay, let's see if there's a fourth question. No. So press pause or stop the video until you watch this, until you take the second formative, and then continue watching this video. Okay, we are going to move on to the Unit 2 formative number 3 for Lesson 3. So it says evaluate the following trig ratio by finding the coterminal angle on the unit circle. Okay, so let's see, where is this? Where is negative 300 degrees? We're going negative, right? All the way around is 360. So we're going 300, okay, minus that 60. This is the last 60 degrees, right? Okay, so this is the angle we're dealing with here, okay? First of all, it's in the first quadrant, and that's a tall angle. Ooh, sorry, bird. You okay? I kind of just stepped on her. Let me redraw that because I want you to really see that that's a tall angle. The tall angle is going to look more like that, right? So there we go. Now we can see it's a tall angle. So we're asked to find the sine of this angle. Now again, we're going this way because it's negative. The other direction is positive. So this is a tall angle. Sine is y. So we're looking for the long distance, and we're going up, so that's going to be positive. So this is root 3 over 2. This is just knowing the unit circle. That's the same as taking the sine of 60 degrees. Number 2, identify which quadrant the angle is located in. Okay, they tell us that the sine is greater than 0. That means that the y values are greater than 0. So it's got to be in one of those two quadrants. Now they're also telling us that the tangent has to be less than 0. Since the tangent is, well, writing in yellow is not great, sine over the cosine, in order for tangent to be negative, both sine and cosine have to be opposite signs. Okay, so where are the sine and cosine opposite signs? That happens in the second quadrant. So it's the second quadrant, and it's also the fourth quadrant, but we already narrowed it down to quadrants 1 and 2. So that's why our answer is quadrant 2. Boom. Moving on. Number 3. So find, what color am I? I'll just use black. Okay. So find the sine of this angle, or no, sorry, they tell us if the sine of this angle is negative root 2 over 2. And the cosine is positive. Find the cotangent. Okay, well, what do we know? Where's this angle going to be, first of all? The sine is a negative. So that means it's got to be down here somewhere, because that's where the y values are negative when we go down. And they're also telling us the cosine, or the x values, are positive. So that's got to be in quadrant 4. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'll draw my triangle. And remember, when you draw these triangles, it's just like a bow tie. Oh, jeez. Try that again. Okay. When you draw your triangle, I know everyone seems to remember to put the radius coming out from the center, but then you attach it to the x-axis. This bird is trying to chew apart my mouse. I really should have put her away before I started this. So now we've got the sine of whatever this angle is negative root 2 over 2. Well, I know that's got to be ending in a 4. Or, sorry, the denominator's got to be a 4. What angle is that in the fourth quadrant? Well, that's the last fourth before we get to 8 pi over 4. So that's 7 pi over 4. Oh, they're not asking for that. They're asking for the cotangent. So the cotangent, the x and the y coordinates of this ordered pair, the x coordinate is positive root 2 over 2. The y coordinate is negative root 2 over 2. So those are the same numbers. One's negative and one's positive. So you take two numbers that are the same and put them over each other. One's negative, one's positive. That's how you're going to get your answer of negative 1. And the last problem. Find the exact value of this trig function. All right, negative. So we go ahead and start and we're going to go this direction, right? So negative 225 degrees. So that's 180 halfway around plus an extra 45, right? So we're right here. So that's 3 pi over 4. So we're asked to find the exact value. We're asked to find the y value. So here's our triangle. Y is positive, because see, we're going up for this ordered pair, for this point that's on your circle. And that's a middle, oh gosh, these lines are terrible. It's a middle angle, because it's a 45. It's a 180 plus 45. So this distance here is 45 degrees. So we know that that has to be positive root 2 over 2 if you are using the unit circle. And I know these questions are not easy, and learning the unit circle is not easy, but you've got to learn it, and you've got to learn it quickly, unfortunately. All right, peace out.